Welcome, everyone, to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Georgetown, Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined by Coach Joe Austin, head coach of the Southwestern University Pirates. How are you this evening, Coach?
Doing well, Chuck.
Have a little bit of an announcement. I didn't mean to interrupt your response there, Coach, but next week there will not be an SU Football Weekly, and then
Nothing to talk about, no game.
No, there's a game. We're going to talk about it this week.
Right, yeah, no game to talk about next week.
Right, okay. And then beginning the following week, the week of October 18th, we will be moving the show to Monday nights, and so that'll begin October the 18th.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. It won't be Wednesday any longer. It'll be on Monday nights.
All of our regulars, I'll send you an email reminder. Parents, you get an email reminder also. But we've got a change in our practice schedule. And Rita Healy's here, the GM here at the Sheraton. Thank you for being flexible with us. And our move to Monday. She's awesome. So yeah, we're gonna move to Monday. It's be our last Wednesday. No show next week because of no game. And then the rest of the season will be Monday nights at 6.
And I also want to mention that all of the new gear with the new logo and secondary logo are available online at southwesterngear.merchorders.com. That's Southwestern Gear, all one word, .merchorders, MERCHORDERS.com. So make sure you get out and order yourself a hat, shirt, jacket, duffel bag, whatever you need, and brand it with the appropriate Southwestern logo that you like, either the primary pirate or the secondary 1840 Texas flag in pirate colors. Now, Coach, we're going to cut to the highlights from the game this past Saturday, and then from there we'll come back and we'll discuss it a little bit. Marks out his cage, takes the snap. He'll fake to Marion, pull it himself, run right up the seam, and cut back to the outside. He's in the open field, 45 midfield. They're not going to catch Landry Gilpin. 25-20, 10-5, touchdown Pirates. Take the snap, hand to Marion, who runs straight ahead, cuts outside. He's in the 45, midfield for his first down. And then some, they're going to put him at the 48. Still the quarterback. He'll take the snap and hit Marion in the flat. Get it completed to him. He'll cut inside at the 30, break the tackle, 25. He's going to have the first down for the Pirates, and he's excited about it as he gets up and does a little bit of a flex. Hold down and kick is up from Herbst, and it's good. Lister behind, he takes the snap, turns his hands to Lister. He gets tattooed by our interview defensive player of the week last week, Blaine Corky. Let's send Lister into the flat. Swing pass to Lister, and look who's there, Blaine Corkin. back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Coach, tough loss on Saturday. There were some big plays both ways, but give us your thoughts generally on Saturday's game.
My first thought is the best thing about moving to Monday is I can put the game to bed before Wednesday.
That's right.
And so that will be good for me, good for the players that come on to do interviews. So that will be nice. We've had 3 games that we could have won this year. I almost said shoulda, but I guess we're not at that point right now. But we could have won that game. We've only gotten 1 of the 3. There's going to be a bunch more later throughout the season. So what we talked to the team about this week is just continuing to get better and continuing to bank that knowledge and that experience and that skill. So as we go through our season, we can flip the tide on these games. I thought we played really good defense at times. The beginning of the first quarter was rough. We had 1 letdown in the second half. Otherwise, he played really great defense against a very good offense. Offensively, we had some explosive plays, a 50-yard touchdown pass, a 70-yard touchdown run, but we were inconsistent. We were a really low percentage passing, and for a run-and-shoot team, well, that's going to be difficult. The bright spot was we got our running game going a little bit. We saw a lot of Jaquan Marion's carries. And for an offensive line that started 3 freshmen, I thought they run blocked really well.
Agreed.
And did some good things at times. Special teams continued to be solid. We saw them pinning them inside really the 6-inch line. They had nowhere to go. It's about as tight as you can pin them. We ran a kickback for a touchdown, and we didn't have that in the package. We could have because we had a holding call, and it was legit holding. I always ask them, I said, are you sure? You bring back a touchdown. They're never going to pick it up. At least I can ask them. I mean, are you sure? And it was away from the play. We didn't need to do it. But we had chances through all those big plays. A little bit more consistency on both sides of the football, and that could have come out differently.
Well, and that was kind of my next question is, there were some missed opportunities despite quality play on really both sides of the ball. We had a drive stall on the 36. We ended up kicking a field goal in that one, so we were able to capitalize somewhat. And then we started a drive on the 11, and we went backwards and missed a field goal. So how can we capitalize on those opportunities?
Execution. We committed a holding penalty at the beginning of the drive. We got at the 11-yard line. Special teams forced a turnover again. We forced several this year and blocked kicks and done those things. And we didn't do anything with it. And you've got to get points. I mean, we could at least a field goal to make it 20-20 in the fourth quarter. The momentum swings to our direction. Our defense is playing really well at that point in the game, and we came up empty. An uncharacteristic miss for Will Herbst on a 31-yard field goal. But to not move the ball closer and score a touchdown and then to not convert the field goal was a big blow. I don't think it dissuaded us, but it certainly was a big moment in the game where things can swing quickly. And, of course, the next drive, they scored a touchdown.
Right.
So it went from tied to a 10-point margin in about 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Well, and the final was a 10-point spread. And obviously, you know, as a fan, you kind of see, oh, well, if we would have had that kick return or if we would have made that field goal, we would have been tied at the end. But that's not how it works. Football doesn't come down to a couple of plays. But it can be perceived that way. So what do you tell your team about that type of situation, leaving points on the field, what we can do better?
Well, you're right. There's two ways to look at that. Sometimes it does come down to a couple plays.
Right.
I mean, we can't commit the holding penalty away from the ball on the kickoff return. We saw the clip and it cut off. We forced a fumble on the sidelines. Clear fumble, clear recovery would have been a defensive touchdown, and they blew it dead. I did send that clip into our coordinator of officials, and they agreed that it was improper mechanics by that official. They're humans.
Right.
And in our division, there's not instant replay. If we were playing an instant replay game, they blew it dead, we wouldn't have gotten the touchdown. We'd have had the ball at their 35-yard, 40-yard line again. So there are big moments. So I guess to put it in the context of, you know, just to say not one play is the big play, is that any play could be that big play. This kickoff return could be that kickoff return that swings the game. You know, this first down at the 11-yard line could be the first down play where if you don't hold and if you move the ball towards the goal line,
right,
it makes all the difference in the game. That's why every play is so important, and it's coach speak, but it's coach speak that's true. You have to go out and you have to try to win every play because the reason there's highlight packages, right? ESPN shows the plays that are the most important throughout the game in a certain frame. So I think that there were times that we had errors that let us down. And so we'll continue to work to coach better and to play better, as I said at the beginning, to try to swing these games. I do want to say, too, we had a really good week of practice. So this was not a game where I went back hanging my head. I was encouraged with the fact that we could have won that game. And I knew we could have won that game, combined with the fact that we got better during that week of preparation. And that's going to matter all the way through the second half of our year. We'll talk about this later, but 2 nationally ranked teams next week. And then our last 3 games, when we get to them, are games like this that I think we have a really good chance to win. Not that we can't pull some upsets against these ranked teams, but if we keep getting better every week, we should have really good results by the end of the season.
Well, and you highlighted it a little bit earlier in your initial response to my first question, but let's talk about the defense a little bit more. They showed up really big on Saturday, especially in the second half. First half may have been a little chaotic, a couple of big plays. But talk about the defensive performance in light of the expectations from the week prior at McMurray.
Sure. Well, I think our most consistent group right now is our defensive line. Also a very experienced group. So guys like J.D. Guerrero, Nick Hackett, Noah Clarkson, Jay Hanneth is in that group that plays a lot. Mundo Suarez when he's healthy. They're an experienced group. And so they're really consistent. So when we grade the players on their game film, they're consistently scoring as the best unit. So we know that we're going to get a really solid performance from our defensive line. I thought we flipped our linebackers this week, and I thought it was good for both players. Bernard Century moved to the middle, and we moved Alec Gomez to the outside. It lets Alec be more dynamic and chase the ball, which he likes to do, and we can blitz him more. And it let Bernard, who's really fundamentally sound. We key guards a lot. When the guard pulls this way, he follows it. He did a great job doing that. In our secondary, I thought we had a really good performance from Eli Norris, who's going to be on tonight.
Yes.
And so I thought he was really strong against the run. He stayed on top of his routes. So, and of course, there's others. I say every week I hesitate to start mentioning guys because I'll forget somebody that played well. But I thought we had good performances on all 3 levels of the defense is what I'm getting at. And so I think that was a really promising thing for our defense.
And additionally, you got good performance from the depth of those positions as well, not just those guys on that first unit, the guys in the second unit, and even beyond that.
We did.
So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me now, senior offensive tackle Charles De La Rosa. How are you, Charles?
Doing good, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm just going to jump into some questions for you. You're one of the elder statesmen of the offensive line. Is a very young offensive line, but there is another upperclassman in that group as well. Dylan Smith,
yes,
if my too deep roster is correct. Now, how do you feel about being that elder statesman of the offensive line, the guy the young guys likely come to with questions about anything, not just football?
Well, I guess speaking on that fact, it kind of brings me back to whenever I was a freshman. I always looked towards, let's say, T.J. Vela, for example, or Jared Wiggins, or someone who graduated last year, James Hill. I pretty much look to those guys as a sort of way to, help me guide myself on what I should do on this play, or just how do I get better? What do I need to do to take, I guess, better steps or something as a key skill as an O-lineman and work my hands. But, it's just something that I knew that I had to do. and I'm glad that I'm doing so I could help these younger linemen, get on the right track. Is what
Well,
I'm trying to say.
ultimately, almost by default, as an upperclassman, you kind of become a leader.
Mhm.
But you've exhibited some leadership qualities as well without, just generally speaking. So how do you approach the role of leadership, and are you accustomed to being in that role, or is it something that you had to learn to be good at, to lead those young guys?
Well, something I've been told multiple times from high school and even now, I tend to be a silent leader, where I'm not really vocal, rather my actions speak for
Mm-hmm.
me, and that's being, I guess, just on time for meetings, for example, or just how I approach the game, how I focus in practice, and let's see, just key ways for me that people should see how I do things. And currently, I'm trying to be a little bit more vocal in that sense. Going up to guys, telling them, "Hey, you're doing this wrong. Just if you do this, trust me, you'll do a whole lot better."
And that was really kind of geared towards the purpose of my question, because oftentimes it's easy to demonstrate leadership. Actions speak louder than words,
Right.
obviously. But oftentimes, especially in a upperclassman role of a young position group like the offensive line, you do have to be vocal.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of sometimes people have to come out of their shell
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So, and that's kind of where I was going. So obviously that is the tougher part, being vocal. It's easy to demonstrate leadership
Right.
for you, but getting out there
Mm-hmm.
and being the vocal leader sometimes isn't so easy.
Yeah.
So now don't take this the wrong way, but linemen are generally considered some of the smartest players in the sport. Of course, I played the offensive line too. So
I second that. Yeah.
yeah. So at a high academic school like Southwestern University, how does it apply? Does that apply as effectively as it may have in high school, or is it something that you just noticed that there's smart people everywhere on the team?
Well, especially coming here, I feel like there are smart people everywhere on the team. It's not easy to get into this school, and you really
Right.
have to prove yourself in the classroom as well as well as on the football field. But taking your statement as, or going back to your statement, I think O linemen do think a whole lot more and based of just reading defensive alignments, where their defensive front is lined up in a specific way or how the linebackers are looking. One thing I like to do is just check people's feet positions to see if they're going to stunt one way or go the other way. And sometimes I'll look to see if how they're covering our wideouts, just to see if there is, any other sort of hint uh, in their, I guess, defensive scheme.
Well, you people think of a play and they think, okay, the linemen go up there and they're gonna block this guy.
Hmm.
That's not the way it works,
No,
right?
no. It's a little bit more complicated. I mean, if you want to, I guess, dumb it down a little, then yeah, we kind of do, go up to the line and say, all right, I'm blocking you. I mean, if you can honestly say that to a defensive lineman and nothing will change. I mean, we are going to block that guy. But in some cases, we're doing our zone plays, outside zone plays, and as the play develops, we have to be sure
You're
to pick
blocking a
up.
zone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We're making sure that we pick up the right guy at the right time, just for someone like Quan or Landry to run right behind us and pick up some yards.
Well, and a defensive line will shift on you at the last moment sometimes in the cadence, and that changes your responsibility as well.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So that can be a little bit scary. Now, as an offensive lineman, there's very few statistical categories.
Hmm.
And in fact, the school doesn't even keep pancake blocks, at least on the website. Do you guys keep track of those?
uh, that's something that we've been talking about ever since I got here. We offensive linemen, the only penalty that, or I gave it
The only
away, but
time
the
you're
only
mentioned.
statistic that we only have are penalties, and pancake blocks. We say we think of that as an eternal statistic for us.
It's a good statistic if you can rack up a few of those.
Yeah.
And, maybe you guys, or maybe you as a leader can, with coach's permission, of course, start some kind of pancake celebration or something for those guys that do lead the team each week in that category. Now, we'll talk a little about your academic career here. You are a senior.
Yes, sir.
So what is your major?
Business major.
You're a business major. And do you have plans after this school year? Are you going to come back for another few classes in another year of eligibility, or?
I do plan on graduating in May.
Uh-huh.
And moving forward with, I guess, my career as an adult, I guess. Finally moving forward into the workforce and trying to, I guess, pay my own bills.
So what are your plans?
So my plans are as of now, I'm planning on setting up a meeting to look into grad school and seeing what my options are, and have that summer off, this upcoming summer off, and then just start grad school.
So how are you going to spend that summer off?
Man, honestly, that's just way too far ahead. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Just probably do something.
Do you like to fish?
Fish. Some of my hobbies. Last summer I actually did start working out a whole lot more. I've started to fall in love with the gym, so I'll probably work out, hang out with a few buddies. Sometimes when I like to go, or when I go back home, me and my buddies just have those spontaneous moments where, let's just go here or let's just go there. I remember a couple summers ago we went to Lubbock to just why not?
On purpose?
Yeah, just it was just like a few day. It took us a few days to just think of it, And then a few summers before that, we had the idea of, all right, let's just go to the casino in Oklahoma and see if we can win money. And I didn't.
Yeah, that's usually the way it works, because they wouldn't be in business or stay in business if the house didn't win most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
It's always rigged. That's what we say.
Definitely. Well, Charles, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. We'll take a quick break here on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me now is Eli Norris, defensive back for the Pirates. How are you, Eli? Is his mic turned down? Try that again.
Well, good.
There you go. There we go.
How you doing?
Okay, Eli. We were just talking to Charles De La Rosa about how there's no statistics for offensive linemen. There are plenty of statistics for defensive backs. And one of the things you share with offensive linemen oftentimes is when your name's called, sometimes it's usually, or not usually, but oftentimes because of some kind of penalty call. Right. And you're out there on an island. I mean, everybody sees you. But you've got 19 tackles on the year. You got 5 pass breakups. You got an interception. You got a 21-yard average on kick returns. You're obviously a very versatile player for the Pirates. Describe the mental preparation you go through to get ready for all of these different contributions and phases to the game that you have?
I think, it just goes back to just when I was playing Little League, just, growing up, playing all the different positions, just being able to play everything on the field, being more than just your position, being an athlete, being a football player. And then, just being able to prepare, watch film on everything, mentally be able to prepare for everything, your assignment, not just defense, special teams, and everything else.
Well, and we just mentioned that your primary position is cornerback, and you're kind of out there on an island. And we talk to Coach about this every week. This conference has really good skilled players offensively on every team we play. So each and every week you're going against some high quality receivers. Talk about those receivers and how you match up to them week in, week out.
Yeah, our conference, as you said, is full of athletes. We're in a tough conference, probably the best conference in D3. So every week's going to be a challenge. And being a DB, it's going to be a grind. You have to lock in. All 4 quarters, you don't get a playoff. And then just being a competitor. That's what I pride myself in being. I love to compete. I want to challenge. I want the best receivers every week. I want to match against the best receivers and test my skills against them.
Well, and you play with a lot of emotion. That's one of the things that I've noticed. And defensive positions generally there's a lot of emotion defensively, but you exhibit a lot of emotion and you're vocal as well. Talk about that role on the field, especially trying to keep your team up as you make plays, or as sometimes plays break down, but you want to get the guys back up.
That's just being an energy guy. That's something I've always been. In college, high school, just everything I played in every sport. I just pride myself in being an energy guy. Again, being defensive back, it's one-play mentality, just on to the next play, every play, short-term memory, and just always having that energy and being a leader on the field. Again, as you said, I'm vocal. I'm always making sure our guys are up, making sure we know our assignments because, one play could impact the game.
Well, and, we talked a little bit about you being a corner on the island and covering these really good receivers. One of the things about being out there on that island is oftentimes you have got to make a tackle in open field against some of these great athletes. Talk about how you prepare for that and how you've, honed that and become very good at making those tackles on the edges.
It's just about doing your job. Again, we're DBs rather than our island. Our primary job is to cover. But every now and then, running back's going to get loose, and we have to do our secondary job coming down, making a tackle. That's just being a part of the defense. We do our drills during practice, and then, again, just being a football player, just knowing how to tackle. Just having no fear, going down and making a hit and going out to the next play. Keep the series going.
And you just said no fear, and so that kind of ties into the next question I wanted to ask you, and that's as a kick returner. And I talked to Austin Costilleja, your kick returning mate, last week about this. If you've never fielded a kick and you just go onto a field and someone kicks you the ball, it is scary just to see the football coming, let alone guys running down the field wanting to take your head off. Talk a little bit about the pressure in that part of the game and how comfortable you're obviously comfortable with it. But, for us that can't really see how you would become comfortable with that. Talk to us.
Yeah, well, of course, it's just experience being back there multiple times, being a kick returner. But then the real reason, just having trust in your guys. As you said, looking up, catching the ball, and then seeing just a whole bunch of guys running down at you. But over the time, you trust your guys. You know they're going to do their assignment. They don't want to see you get killed. I tell them every time, I'll meet you in the end zone because I know they're going to do their job, and the goal is to meet them in the end zone. I trust them 100%. So I catch the ball, and I just go where I have to go. Don't even worry about somebody coming.
Well, and obviously you're attending Southwestern University not just as a football player but as a student as well. So give us your major and tell us what classes you're in. You're a junior this year, right?
I'm a junior, yes. I'm a major in business, and I have a minor in communications.
So do you want to be on sports shows? Or
I don't know. Only a junior. I've gone through I want a business major, but I've gone through a whole bunch of different scenarios, different career paths I could go. Being involved in sports is something I definitely want to do, whether it's coaching, broadcasting, something like that. That's definitely an option that I'm keeping.
So coaching is still within the realm of possibility.
For sure, I'd love to coach for sure.
Well, and I've that's one of my regrets in life is that I didn't pursue a coaching career. Instead, I went into business, and while I've had success, I've always missed being active in the sport, and so I always encourage players, at the very least, if you can be active in one way or another, whether it's get into some broadcasting, do PA for a high school, whatever that may be, stay involved, because football, it builds young men, and that's what we really need. And this school, in my opinion, really represents that.
For sure.
So I think the guys that come out of this program are going to be leaders for our country for years to come. So, and you're one of those. So, thanks for joining us, Eli. We'll be right back on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Stay with us. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Sheraton, for hosting us. Joining me now is Peyton Vaughn, a junior defensive back. How are you, Peyton?
Pretty great. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We just spoke to one of your secondary mates. Coach often likes to say that the defensive line is the deepest and most talented part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the secondary? I think it's pretty deep and talented.
Oh, for sure. I love my guys. We go out there and compete every week. I'd like to say we have the hardest job out there. I mean, we're covering the best athletes in the country when it comes to the D3 level. And, I mean, we just go out there and compete and try to do our hardest. Of course, our mistakes are maximized because, you know, it's out in the open field. And
right.
A mistake that, like a cornerback or safety, you allow a touchdown if you mess up your assignment. Whether if you miss a tackle as like a linebacker or something, it's okay because maybe we can get
yeah, there might be a secondary guy to come up and make the play.
So, I mean, it happens. But I feel like as a defense as a whole, we're deep everywhere at every position.
So how is that competition between you guys for playing time? Is it, supportive, or are you guys just battling day in, day out for that time on the field?
I'd say it's definitely supportive. I feel like it all comes out of love and passion for the game. And honestly, it's a good thing for every person in this situation because he's bringing his best. It's going to make me want to bring my best. And as a team, we want each other's best, so that's how we go out there and get wins and be successful is bringing each other's best and making each other better.
Well, and we talked about it with Eli, and you just mentioned it. The talent at wide receiver in this conference is really incredible. How do you guys prepare each week to defend those guys? I mean, can you rely on our receivers to play those roles? Do y'all go one-on-one with the offense, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do go one-on-one with the offense, so we do rely on our receivers to give us good looks throughout the week so we can get used to covering the routes and getting used to just visualizing the situations. And then really film is really beneficial, just being able to be in the film, watch the film, and know exactly what teams are about to do, look for little cues, like maybe alignments if they're more far in. They might want to go across a formation. If inside receiver's on the line, he might be going vertical. Just little cues like that is what helps you as a DB when you're already at a disadvantage of not knowing what the route's going to be in the first place.
Well, and you guys in the secondary make plenty of tackles. The defense is steadily improved throughout the season. So give us your thoughts on that development and the improvement as the season wears on, and what can we expect going forward from here?
I think this is only the start, really. I feel like just these losses have really lit a fire in a lot of guys' hearts now. I feel like it just took us a few games to really get back in that groove and really, like, start to, like, believe in what we preach. Like, we were really trying to, like, make ourselves out to be this great defense, but we weren't playing like it. So we had to return back to our basics and back to the fundamental principles that got us to be that great defense that we thought we were. So I feel like, just like Coach Austin was saying, a great week of practice that all leads into a great performance in the game. So I feel like this last week was just the start of that, and we're just keep building onto that so we could be far more successful by the end of the season than we were at the beginning of the season.
And especially in the second half, you guys were playing lights out. So let's talk a little bit about your school now. What is your major? You're a junior as well, and what classes are you taking? What are your plans going forward?
I'm a major in psychology, and I'm a minor in race and ethnic studies. My plan moving forward is to hopefully get something involved with sports, maybe a sports psychologist, work with sports teams, work with athletes. That's the dream job right there. But really anything that involves just really helping people out and, just, I don't know, just a supportive type role. I like to be involved with people's lives.
Well, and I, again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think this program produces people that want to help other people and lead in a positive way. And so, each person, now granted, Coach is probably picking the best of the best to come up here each week, but ultimately I think in all of the guys I've spoken to, that's a common theme. So, I think congratulations to you for wanting to pursue that. Now, do you have any thoughts that you want to add? You want to shout out anybody as we close out your segment here?
I just want to shout out the team. I just want to tell us to keep working, believe in the process. I know it gets frustrating with the losses, but we're a heck of a team. We got to believe in each other, and the success will come. We just got to keep working and keep working.
Excellent. Well, good job.
Appreciate you for having me.
And we'll be right back. SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be returning. Good job. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me for the closing segment is Coach Austin. Coach, before we get into the questions on the closing segment, I want to remind everyone that next week there will not be an SU Football Weekly, and then beginning the following week, the week of October 18th, the show will be moved to Monday evening, and that'll be October 18th will be that first Monday that we return after next week.
Yeah, we had some regulars come in, so Jerome, I hope you got that. Gaines's, hopefully got that. I think, and I'll get you email reminders of the switch. But we've had some schedule changes that necessitate the move. And again, Rita Healy and the staff at the Sheraton's awesome to be flexible with us, and same with the SHN crew for us to go to Monday. And as I said, for us to get the last week, whether win or lose, off our back on Monday is going to be awesome. Because those guys had to talk about it again, I talk about it again. So
right, and you're already moving on to that next
I've already moved on.
Right.
And so I've got to come back and rethink about so seeing the highlight kind of jogs my memory on lots of stuff.
Well, let's get into the questions I have for the last segment. Coach, I had initially prepared to discuss just bye-week related stuff. And so I want to throw a couple of those questions out real quick. Talk about the bye week. How does that affect the season, your preparation, injuries, things like that?
It's always a good time for a bye week. I think this time of year is really good. And, in fact, the ASC conference has a mutual bye week. So the way our schedule is set up is you play 5 games, you all have a bye week at the same time, and then you play the last 5. And I'm the one that brought that to the football coaches group. And they were all like, yeah, why don't we think of that? And then they took it to the ADs and the presidents. And so now for football, you play half your schedule, take a break, recoup, and then you play your last half. And it's really good for us. We used to play the JV game on Monday and had some guys that got some dings and need some time to heal. So it's great for our guys that are playing on both of our squads to have the week off this weekend. So it's coming at a really good time. Sometimes it's tough if you get stuck with like a week 2 bye week, because then you got to go 9 in a row. So I think the way our conference has set it up is really beneficial for the student-athlete experience.
Yeah, I actually covered a team last year that their bye week was the last week of the regular season. So that would be beneficial had they made the playoffs.
Well, when you do a typical conference with round-robin bye weeks, someone gets that typically.
Right.
And they may end up playing 10 in a row. It's a really bad schedule model. You'd think they could come up with some other options, but that's not unheard of. Someone has the first week, it might be week 2, and then someone has the last week and is playing 10 in a row.
Well, with as many people out there focused on statistics and statistical analysis, it seems like someone should be able to come up with some solution for that. So we're at the halfway point of the season, Coach. So give us the grade of your team for the first half of the season, and then let us know what your expectations are for the second half.
I don't know. I don't do halftime grades. I don't know. I think we're getting better. I think our last week of practice was really good. We've had a chance to win 3 games. The 2 ranked teams we played, they outplayed us. But we've had a chance to win 3 times, and we only got 1 of them. So I guess our grade's incomplete because we're going to play more teams, right? Professor Gaines, I can give an incomplete. He give me the thumbs up. I can give an incomplete. Professor Chapman, I can give an incomplete. Okay, good. Pass, fail. Okay. So we're an incomplete because there's going to be 2 more ranked teams. We're going to try to pull upsets, and then there's 3 more games that we have a really good chance to win, and then we'll see how the season ends as we go through the last half.
Well, and speaking of those tough games down the stretch, we've got one coming up not this weekend, but the following weekend against Harden Simmons on the road. Speak to Harden Simmons. Give us your thoughts on the team as a whole, their offense, defense, special.
2 weeks from now?
Well, it's a week from Saturday, right?
We got Howard Payne.
Oh, Howard Payne. I'm sorry,
Howard
Coach.
So you're looking ahead, too.
I'm looking ahead too far. Talk about Howard Payne. That's who I meant.
Yeah. Look, Howard Payne is probably the best offense in the nation. They're averaging 53 points a game, 610 yards of offense. They'll probably have 3,000-yard receivers throughout the season. Their top receiver was Pat Mahomes' main target at White House High School. He's like 27 years old. And for whatever reason, he didn't go play Division I out of high school. He went out, this is a story I've heard, went out and worked the oil fields in West Texas, was a roughneck, and then all of a sudden he's beating up kids at Howard Payne. So we'll have our hands full with him. He is a really, really good player. Ran 2 punts back for a touchdown last week. Just a talent that shouldn't be in our conference, but he is. So it'll be a big challenge for us. But lots of other good receivers, a very good quarterback. They're good in the run game, so their offense is going to be a big challenge for us.
Okay, so a week from this Saturday, Howard Payne. That's at home. It's a homecoming game, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Just want to make sure I got that straight. So how does that change your preparation, knowing that you're going to have former players come in, different former graduates come in on homecoming weekend to watch you play?
Well, we bring players back a lot. In fact, we've had probably at least a dozen former players come and visit with the team throughout preseason, and 3 guys were there last Friday. So we're always open, and I hope I don't get in trouble for that. I mean, we're not hiding it. We still have protocols. We're all outside. We're all distanced for these guys coming back. But so we're always really open. We have alumni coming back. We are going to have a reception here next Friday night here at Jack's Lounge. We'll have our alumni come back. It's an unofficial deal. It's not on the homecoming calendar necessarily, but coaches will be up here. Our players will roll through. We'll get them some tickets to the game, and we'll get a chance to see everybody. It's always fun to share stories and see how the stories start to change, because some of these guys have been out 5 years now. So all of a sudden they're going to be, their 40-yard touchdowns becoming a 50-yard touchdown, and pretty soon it's going to be a 99-yard touchdown in another 5 years. So that's always fun, and so look forward to it. We've got a lot of really good relationships with our alumni guys, and they treat our program really well, and it's good to see them come back.
And do you call them out when you hear them?
Oh, heck no! Good for them, man. Glory days. You gotta live it up.
Oh, so you give your own Glory Day responses?
No, what I'm saying is I just like listening to those guys get together with each other and say, "Do you remember that? Do you remember this? Do you remember when remember when Coach yelled at us for that? And do you remember when you never knew that we did this? You never found out about that one." So those are really fun when they come back.
Do you take those stories and kind of apply them to the current team and see if you can catch them doing something the other guys did in the past?
No, but I do talk a lot about the players that have come through. In particular, our first 2 recruiting classes that came here when there was literally nothing. At my press conference, I tell recruits there was a rubber football and a helmet with no chin strap as props, and that was our football department when we got here. And they came in with nothing really to grab hold of. And then the next group came in after we didn't win with nothing to grab hold of, and they built us into a conference champion. 2 nationally ranked teams. Our best team was 2017. We won the championship in 2016, but we came into the ASC with a really, really good team. We only lost two games in the conference. We came really close to beating Harden Simmons at their homecoming, and so they came in just on faith, and they worked so hard, and so many of them stayed, that I make sure that our current team knows about those guys, that players that have been in your locker and sat in this chair in the meeting room have done the things that you want to do, and here's how they did it. Here's some of the habits that they developed, and that's why they come back and tell them. Here are the things that we did that helped us go from not being able to win a game when we all started as freshmen to being undefeated conference champions when we were juniors and seniors.
Well, and Coach, I've attended your recruiting session where you bring in a lot of recruits. One of my nephews was recruited by Southwestern, and it's really neat.
He wasn't just recruited; we got him. He's on
I
the
know
team.
he is. Well, I'm not going to brag on him, but
Clayton's doing a great job.
Yeah, I know he's a good kid. But I sat through it with him and with his parents, and we were really impressed with the way that things were set up and the way that you sell the program and the quality of the education that comes along with committing to play football with Southwestern University. And it's not, you're not just going to a football factory when you go to Southwestern University. And one of the things you always say is that, this conference, the ASC, is essentially the SEC of Division III. So talk a little bit about that recruiting process and bringing kids. Are you going to bring any here for homecoming, or discuss that a little bit?
We will. Now that we're getting even more into full swing, we're going to have tailgating now at homecoming. So we're going to bring recruits to see us play football for the first time since 2019.
Right.
So almost on the calendar, almost 2 years. Our first home game was the beginning of November, so we're just a few weeks shy, probably 3 weeks shy of it being 2 full years without bringing anyone on campus to see us play football. So that will be fun. That will be a really good step forward for us. And again, another step back to normalcy.
Well, do you have any closing thoughts about the upcoming game with Howard Payne?
I think our players are really looking forward to the challenge. I think our defensive guys, they've seen the film. They know who they're going to be going up against. They know what the challenges will be. And I think our offense feels motivated too, because we're not going to stop them every drive. They're a good offense. A team that averages 53 points a game isn't going to lay a goose egg.
Right.
So they're going to have some success. So our offense needs to pick up the baton and run with it too. And so I think our offense is motivated on that. Our special teams guys know that they have to be really good. They can't give up. They've returned kickoffs for touchdowns, punts for touchdowns. We can't allow that to happen. So I think it's an easy game to get players motivated for, because if you're not ready to go, you'll get exposed.
Well, this weekend you'll continue preparation for that upcoming game with Howard Payne. Do y'all practice on the weekend when it's a bye week?
No, another thing that worked out great is this is the university's fall break, and so there's no classes Monday, Tuesday of next week. So our players, we're going to practice tomorrow night. We practiced. We had our JV game on Monday and a practice with the varsity guys, a walkthrough, a real light practice. A moderate intensity practice yesterday on Tuesday. It'll be moderate intensity again on Thursday, and then they're going to get 4 days to recoup, to go and refresh, get away from football, and hopefully they come back excited. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, with fall break, they'll be off. They'll come back Tuesday morning. We'll go attack the weight room Tuesday morning and get out into a normal routine for us of practice Tuesday afternoon.
Excellent. Well, Coach, I thank you for joining us tonight on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We will not have a show next week. The following Monday we will, October 18th. So make sure you tune in, and that'll be the week for Harden Simmons.
Week for Harden Simmons.
Harden
We'll recap
Simmons.
Howard Payne,
Right.
and then we'll film it live at 6, and then we'll make sure we have it uploaded for 8 for all of our parents and folks that want to see the high-quality stream when we get it posted.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Hi, Mom.